Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, a new trading week starts, and I want to take the chance to look at some charts that we maybe can find some trading opportunities. On our charts, I'm here at the moment. I want to show you another chart. Let's switch back to this one here. We had a nice trade during the Asia session with MetaGrid on the Euro Kiwi. The chart is loading. You can see it here. This nice trade. We got here the blue arrow on it. There was also formed a demand zone here. And then we had a chance to go from here to here. This is a massive sell order block. This blue box here, and so if you check the chart, exactly this was the trade we had after the blue arrow came. If you opened here a buy trade, and then your target is here, this next resistance, and the resistance in this case is this massive blue order block here, and exactly here the candles bounced. We got here a new arrow at the moment for a sell trade. I don't like it that much because there is not much room. Here's the demand zone, the M15 demand zone created. And this is normally then the target. So if we would use this signal, we would go until here. It is not much room left. So personally, I would maybe skip this trade opportunity. This one here was definitely the better one. But still, if you like this signal, of course, you can take such ones. But if you see a demand zone here below, then the chances are a little bit smaller. The chances decrease a little bit. But maybe we'll see during this broadcast what happens here. You can also see that we had here a trend line was broken during the Asia session. This yellow line here is a trend line. The yellow ones are standing for H4. So MetaGrid found this trend line on the higher chart on the H4. This is the nice thing with MetaGrid, especially that you can see what is going on the higher time frames too. And so the H4 trend or the trend line has been broken here. And then it was going down exactly to this green line. This green line is a buy order block. So the prediction from MetaGrid was in this case that here are placed buy orders in the market. And you can see very exactly, in this case, the prediction was true. And the same was then here. We had here the prediction for sell orders in the market. And we should not trade blindly these order blocks, like I always tell you. This is a prediction from MetaGrid. It can happen that the orders gets removed during the day, so we should always wait if the market reacts to these lines. And if you see such a nice reaction, especially with these two wicks on these two candles, so we have two pin bars in a row exactly here on the area where the prediction for buy orders is. This is a good sign to jump into a buy trade. And here you can see that we had a bounce here on this massive block. It goes down, so it's also a good price action reaction here on this place. And so you could use these lines, and you have also the dynamic moving average here painted. So we are sitting around this moving average. The moving average is really flat at the moment. This is basically a sign that we should be careful to take trades on such pairs, because if the moving average is flat, there is no real movement at the moment on this pair. And so it's better normally to wait or to skip then this pair. This does not mean that every signal does not work if we have a flat MA. It's only a little warning sign that you maybe use another pair, or you wait until there is more movement on this pair. And you can see now there is also a supply zone has been created here. This box came now with the close of this candle. So MetaGrid found here supply 2. So we are sitting between a demand zone and a supply zone. And so this is now definitely a pair I would not trade at the moment if the price sits between a demand and a supply zone. So this confirms basically the flat MA. So that's at the moment the price is a little bit in a range for now, and maybe during the European session, which starts now at this moment, we see then more movement, and then we find maybe additional trading opportunities here. Let's see what we have else here going on today. We're here on the cable, the pound dollar. You see here a reaction. I remove for the moment the order blocks because I'm on the higher time frame on a daily chart here. You can always remove the order blocks if you want a clear chart picture, especially on the higher time frames with this button here. If you click on it, the order blocks are there. But if you're on a daily time frame, the order blocks make no sense because they are too close together on this higher time frame. So we click here on this O button, and then they disappear on the higher time frame here. And what we see here on the cable is that the price reacted here on this H4 supply zone. The yellow one is also like the trend line. I made the colors the same. So yellow stands here for H4 supply. And you see price reacted here on this H4 zone. We can see really nice here on the daily chart. And this here, the purple two lines, are trend lines from the weekly chart. And so if you're here in a sell trade, or you want to open a sell trade, you should have in mind today that we are close to this trend line here. And if we see on a lower time frame, especially that the price reacts here on this purple trend line, so a reaction in the up direction, then this is a good opportunity to jump again in a buy trade on the cable. If this purple weekly trend line gets broken, then we should wait for sell opportunities. But it's a really strong trend line, so even if the price comes a little bit below it, I would not jump immediately into a sell trade. It can give a false breakout too. So, but have in mind today on the cable that we have here the trend line, or the weekly trend line. I would not. So it's let's check how many pips it is. It's away now 100 pips. So it's not really close, but maybe in the next days the price will retest this trend line. If we see further down movement today and tomorrow, and then we will see if the cable can manage to break here this H4 supply zone, and this here is then the bank buy level here. So this means when price comes until here, then the buy pressure gets probably bigger here. You can see still this nice reaction here on the H4 zone now that the European session starts. Perfect reaction here on this supply zone. These zones are displayed by the MetaGrid supply and demand indicator. And if you had traded this box here, so far we are on 60 pips in profit here on the cable, which gave a really nice trading opportunity and exact sniper entry, like I like to say, if I see such a perfect reaction here. And this is what we want to see on the supply and demand zones. If we get such a perfect reaction, then we should go for a trade, in this case a sell trade. And you see how nice so far this works. But I think it is also possible that we see again then buyers step in because the pair was strong the last days. So this can be it can happen that it now goes down to the beginning of the European session so that the price gets cheaper. And if the price is cheap enough, that we see then that buyers come again into this pair and it will maybe go further up. You will see this during the day. Watch here for the bank buy level and here the trend line. Maybe you get some trading opportunities here on this pair. Let's check another pair. We have here the pound kiwi. We are here on the 1 minute time frame. You can see that here also a green box. This is supply zone. And on a little bit higher than the supply zone, we had this massive order block, sell order block. And you can see that the price reacted here really nice on this box here second time. So this is it's a scalping time frame, the 1 minute. And I wanted to show you this, that it's gave some minutes ago this scalping trade. So the price came back here into our supply zone. And then you had a chance to make here around 15 pips if you're on a M1. And then we go normally for 5 or 10 pips. This is the smallest time frame we can trade. And you can see now maybe this supply zone maybe could get broken here. M15 zones are of course weaker than the zones of a higher time frame. What is also possible, you see this green line here, this is a M15 trend line. We retest at the moment this trend line, and if it manages to come through, then we will see if we see further up movement. But we have also a white trend line and a red trend line. The white one is a H1 trend line, the red is a daily trend line, so there is a lot of resistance above here. So this pair needs a lot of buyers if it wants to come through here, and if it manages to come through all this resistance here, then this is also a clear sign that this pair is in an uptrend and good for buy trades. You can see it now broke here the M15 trend line again, and it now is on its way to retest the H1 trend line here. And if this price goes like now over this supply, then the supply is not valid anymore, and Metagrid will remove it then with the next M15 candle latest. But you had the chance here to trade this supply. You see it gave here this reaction and then here this reaction. And you can see now it bounces here on the H1 trend line a bit. And it's on its way to break this and this trend line. And now the H1 got broken here, and now it wants to break the daily trend line. And if it comes here over the daily trend line and then it retests it, then I would definitely go for a buy trade here on the pound kiwi. You see here now it is on its way to test here the daily trend line. During the Asia session, you see that this massive resistance here, this blue box, did several times hold. It gave a chance to trade it here for a sell. It came again in this box, and it was then here this complete sell trade. And so this gave a lot of chances. We are now on the CAD yen, and you can see that here also some trading opportunities here. Firstly, this is the actual candle, the current candle we have, and you see we have here this nice trade on a M15 demand zone. The demand zone was created during the Asia session with these two candles, and now with this current candle it came back to this demand zone and it reacted again on the pip. It's a sniper entry, and it's now on its way to this resistance here again. And you can see during the Asia session this massive resistance area did hold. Price came into this sell order block, reacted, and let's see, it gave here max 46 pips and very easy 46 pips. The perfect reaction like we want to see it. It came to this resistance block, and with the next candle it began to go down. If you see such trading opportunities, you should take them. Now we're on the dollar yen here in this case, and we have the situation here that the dollar yen is also on its way to break here this resistance area. We have here supply zone. You can see during the Asia session the supply zone gave again a nice trade. This is this big supply zone here. The price came back into it. We're here on the M5 in this case, and then from there on, if you placed here a sell order, you had a chance to make 80 pips during the Asia session, and this during 2 hours. So 2 hours for 80 pips. This is a really nice trade. Now this supply zone is not valid anymore. It got broken with this M5 candle here, and the pairs like the dollar yen, which was in a really big down move the last week, especially on the yen pairs, it seems to want to get today higher and to it's more the buy, it's on the sell side so far, and now the pair wants to come through to this massive sell order block. And if it manages to come through it, and you can see here's the dynamic moving average, this blue one. If we see here on the M5 now a up move and then a retest of this blue moving average, and then again a up move, then you should go here into a buy trade. And let's see what we have here is then your target. If you go into a buy trade on this pair today, you see firstly we have here the bank sell level. This is the level where the sellers could get stronger, and above this sell level we have a lot of supply zones here, M15 and H1. So if you're in a buy trade today on the dollar yen, this here should be your target. Let's check what number we get here. It's here on 129.110. So this is then your target if you are today in a buy trade with the dollar yen. I would wait a little bit that we get a retest. You can see the moving average got broken now. What we want to see is now a M5 candle which comes again down, retests here this moving average, and then it should go up again, and then this would be for me a sign to jump into here a buy trade with the targets I showed you. And if this moving average does not hold here and it goes then down again, then we are again on the sell side on this pair like the last week. But I like really this trade during the night, during the Asia session, 80 pips in 2 hours. And you can see where did it stop. It began here on our supply zone here, and it's exactly stopped on this green line. So which was the prediction from MetaGrid that there is a buy order block, so that there are buy orders, pending buy orders here. And exactly here on this green line, we get here the move upwards. And these lines are calculated daily fresh at midnight. So you see this was the beginning of the trading day, and with the beginning of this Monday, you have these lines on your chart, and they do not repaint. They stay all day long, 24 hours valid on the same place. And if a new trading day starts, then you get a new prediction for the orders. And you can see here now it broke here the complete resistance block. It did hold here on the first attempt during the night, and now this pair, the buyers are that strong that we see now clearly that this resistance got broken. This is a good sign that this pair is has found buyers today, so that we can go maybe with some buy trades. It's a little bit too early for me. I would really clear wait for a retest either of this blue moving average or this resistance block. So this is also possible, because it is possible that we see here only false move, especially during the first 30 minutes of the European session. We see very often false moves, stop hunts, and then suddenly price goes all the way in the opposite direction. So we have always to be careful in these first minutes of the European session. But I would love to see that the dollar gets stronger again, because then we could see a lot of trading opportunities here. I would love to see a stronger dollar again. If you have any questions, then you can, of course, use the chat box on YouTube too. I will make 15 minutes more on this first hours of the European session in this week, and I would love to see that you subscribe to my channel, that you can follow my live streams where I give you every week in my live stream some trading opportunities, and we check the charts together, and sometimes I will also jump into a live trade. But today I want to see the first 1-2 hours of this European session, in which direction we could go this week. And then I will maybe decide during the day what trade I take. You can see now we retest here this resistance. And if this former resistance, it got broken. So this is the retest now. And if the retest is okay, so the retest hold here, then we could go higher. But here is the white line, it's the H1 trend line. So there is one more resistance to break here. So be careful and wait if the pair is strong enough to come through this white trend line after this retest, if the block holds now. Because if this resistance got broken, resistance gets support. This is also valid for this massive order block. So if such an order block was broken like here, and now the retest did hold or does hold, then this gets here a support area. So far, you can see it is on its way to retest here this zone. And then we have to see if it wants to go higher or if this only was a false move to trick the traders and for stop hunting. This is the big question now on this pair, if it was a real move or a fake move. And this is the reason why I basically wait a bit, maybe even the full hour after the European session starts, to come not in such false moves. I know many people love to trade the first minutes of the European session, because then you get, for example, such a massive move, especially if you are a scalper, and then you like such moves on the beginning of the European session. You jump in such a green candle and go out after 5 or 10 pips with a big order volume, and then you're done for the day. But I like more to observe the charts and to come into a bit bigger trades with more pips. But every trader is here different. And so if you like the scalping method, it's okay, of course. You can see here on the lower side of the dollar yen, we have here a demand zone. I check if we can draw here the fib levels here. Okay, it does not match really. I don't like this demand zone that much, to be honest. We have no match with a fib level, and on the left side of this demand zone there is nothing which looks really like support here. But you have to wait and see if the price comes back to this zone. Then the price action is the most important thing. If you see price action, then you could go for it. Let's check the euro pound. We are here on the H1. You can see this pair moves up too at the moment, and we have here also a nice situation during the Asia session. You can see this massive, really massive resistance here, which is also a good sign that this pair comes not through such a massive block, and you see during the Asia session, this was the beginning here of the trading day, this candle. During the Asia session it went to this massive support block here. It's not a resistance block, so it's a support block, of course. And then the support did hold, and then it was going up, and it sits now at the moment on this red trend line, and this red trend line is a daily trend line. So we are now on resistance, and if it jumps over this daily trend line here, and then with the next target here, this resistance block here, we should see here again a reaction, maybe a smaller one. It depends how strong the pair is today. But the first question is here on this pair, can it manage to come clearly over this daily trend line? We would check this then on a lower time frame, and then the retest of this trend line would give us the opportunity to jump into a buy trade on the euro pound here. And then the next resistance is here, and yeah, then we have here supply zone here on the higher side, and there's a lot of support, as you can see here on this area. We have a H4 support, a demand zone, a M15 demand zone, a H1 demand zone. We had this massive support block here. This was a really good sign after this bounce here on this support block, that it gives the opportunity to jump into a buy trade. It's like the examples we saw before. If you see such a perfect reaction here on such a block, it comes to this block, and with the next candle it goes away from such a block, then it's a good trading opportunity. And from this block here, we are now in profit so far with 15 pips. It's not that much, but still easy 15 pips to make here. And this is, like I tell in my videos every time, the MetaGrid order blocks and strong blocks is like a treasure map for your trading chart. MetaGrid gives you a trading plan for the day, and then the only thing what you have to do is to look for price action, and that the price reacts on these zones. All the other zones between where there is no trend line, like here for example, between this supply zone and this red line, there is no trend line, there is no order block, nothing. So we don't look for it. We wait that the candle comes to such zones, and then we wait for price action. So this means we wait for reaction on this block. If the candles here did not react here and went through and lower, then we would ignore such a block. But if we see that it exactly bounces here on such a block, then it's a clear sign that we go to a buy trade. Of course, it's not a 100% guarantee that you get a winner. There is no indicator which gives you a 100% guarantee for a winner. And if you have one, please send it to me, then we all get millionaires. So let's do one more pair here, the Aussie Kiwi. We are on the M15 here, and you can see this was interesting pair during the Asia session, and this is an example where you can say I would not jump into a trade that easy. Still, this block did hold. You can see this was the beginning of the trading day, and then we got some news on this pair during the Asia session. Then you see this massive spike into our massive buy order block. Still, it did hold with this massive spike, and you can see it was then going upwards. But it's a little bit tricky if the spike breaks here this support zone. This is a first warning sign that this block is maybe too weak. But still, if you had placed here an order, or you watched this block during the Asia session and you see that it gets that massive rejected, and then you could make here again around 20 pips. But you see, it's a weaker block here. The reaction is not that nice like we saw it on the other blocks, on the other pairs I showed you today. It managed here to come through. It managed to come through here. It reacted several times on this support block, but the reaction was not good. And at the moment, it tries to break here this support block. and we have to wait. I would jump into a buy trade on this pair if the candle comes above this moving average here. So basically if this here got broken, so if the price comes again over this little high here, and then I would go for a buy trade here. If this sell order block, this buy order block does not hold, I still would not go into a sell trade because I'm not sure about this pair so far. We have here a red trend line. This is the daily trend line from this pair. I would basically wait that the price comes, if it goes further down, to this daily trend line here. And if I see here price reaction so that this trend line holds and we get a bounce here for an up move, then I would jump here into a buy trade. And if it got broken too, I don't know. I'm not really happy with a sell trade on this pair so far because there's again a support block here. There are order blocks here. So I would go for a buy trade, but only if I see clear price action either here, so that the price managed to come again through this high, or if I see here a bounce on this area. You can see this white line here. This is a H1 trend line, and we have here the daily trend line. So maybe when the price comes here to this zone here, that we can come into a maybe little buy trade here. This is maybe an opportunity we have. It bounced here 2 times on this support here and here. If it holds a third time, we will see. But I'm a little bit more on the buy side here on this pair as on the sell side. But you never know. Let's see if we have some going on more on this pair. Yeah, here we have a really big demand on an M50, an older one. You can see it comes from far back. So maybe this pair wants to retest here this demand or this support here, and then it goes up. It's hard to judge this pair so far. It has broken here this yellow H4 trend line during the Asia session. Basically, it's more on the sell side at the moment, but the behavior is a bit strange so far with this big pin bars here, this big ejection of this area here. So this area is really important to watch here. What the pair makes on this area here during the day. And there's a lot of support here. So if the support this does not hold here, then of course the sellers are really strong today. At the moment they are, but it's possible that they only want to come again in this area to get a cheap price, and then maybe it goes up again. So this pair is tricky today. Yes, this was my covering of the first 30 minutes of this European session today. I think we have some trading opportunities, and I showed you some possible trading opportunities for today's trading day. I hope you liked it. I'm live several times in the week. If you follow my Telegram channel, you see exactly when I go live, or subscribe to my channel that you don't miss the next live streams. I wish you a nice trading day on this Monday, and I hope you can catch some pips with Metagrid or the analyze I gave you today. Until next time,